Hello and welcome back to Projects in Java. Today we're going to continue on our text editor. We're going to create our file browser. So this is going to be a menu where the user is able to create a new file or choose an existing file that's in their folder. So first let's go ahead and create the class. So new class, we're going to call this file browser. And this is going to extend jpanel. And implement action listener. Here we're going to have a label. And this is just going to say file list. Then we're going to have two buttons. One to create a new file. And then another button to open an existing file. We also need a button group. And this is going to be the button group that holds our existing files and a file name directory. Now let's create a constructor. And this one is going to take a string argument. And I'll call that dir. They want directory to be equal to new file. And we'll pass that dir. Then we'll call directory.make directory. And this will actually work if the directory exists already. And if it doesn't, it'll make the new directory. Then we're going to create a jpanel called file list. This is going to be equal to new jpanel with a grid layout. And the size of that is going to be directory dot list files dot length plus 3 and by 1. And the first thing we'll add to the file list is the label. And we'll initialize the button group, so bg equals new button group. And we'll create a for loop for every file in directory dot list files. And so for every file in this directory, we're going to create a new radio button. We'll call this radio equals new JRadio button. And we'll get the name of the file, so file.getName. And we'll set the action command of that radio button. So radio.setActionCommand. And that takes a string, so we'll pass that again the name of the file. And we'll add that to the button group. So bg.addRadio. And the last thing we'll do is add it to the file list. So file list.addRadio. Next we'll have another panel. And we'll call this new panel. And so in this panel we need to add a text field. So let's go up here and add a new text field. And that'll be new file tf equals new jtext field. And then we'll add that to this new panel. And then add the new file button. Next in file list, we'll add the open button. And then we'll add the new panel that we just created. And we'll add the file list to our file browser panel. Okay, so now let's test what we have so far. So here in the login class, we'll remove this print line. And instead we'll add a new file browser. And we'll pass that the user, so user tf.getText. And so that'll either get the directory or create the directory for that user. And then we'll call the card layout dot show this, and we'll call this FB file browser. And we need to add the key here, so we'll add FB here also. And let's launch this. So user 1, log in with the password, log in. And so here we have an empty file list. Now let's go to our source folder, or our project folder, and you can see here we have a user1 folder now. So let's create a new text file here, and we'll call this file1. Let's go to the file browser class, and here in the text field we'll make this size 10. Let's launch this again, log in with the same user, and here we go, the file1 text. And this is the file1 that we have in the user1 folder. Okay, next let's go back to the file browser, and we're going to add to the action perform method. So first we're going to add an if statement to check to see if we're opening an existing file. So if get source is equal to open, and we need to get the parent again. So above this we're going to call login. Login is equal to cast login to get parent. And here we're going to add a class that we're going to create later. And this is going to be a new editor. And we're going to pass it the directory. So directory.getName // plus the button group .getSelection .getAction command. And the key we're going to use for this is editor. And then we're going to call login.cl.show. We'll call login. And the key we're going to use is editor. And so next, if e.getSource is equal to new file, and we'll create a string called file to make this a little easier. This is going to be equal to directory.getName. And so here we're going to add the user input, so new file tf.getText, and then the extension, so plus txt. Next, we're going to do a couple of checks. So if new file tf.getText.length is greater than 0, and so here we'll check to see if the file exists. So we'll call a new file and pass out the file name .exist. So if the new file text length is greater than 0 and the file does not exist, we're going to do the same thing we did earlier. So add new editor. We'll give it the file name. And a key for the card layout. And we'll just copy and paste this. And so that finishes the file browser class. In our next video, we'll create the editor class.